Hello everyone, welcome to the patch 19 notes rundown. It's gonna be a very short patch, let's get into it. Azir Q cooldown reduced, or increased I should say. Yeah, this champ's still good, like 2 seconds feels kinda bad, cause it nerfs his poke. He's still a pretty good champion and he'll probably make the tier list still. Briar. This champ was overtuned slightly. But I think with the nerfs there are better champions to play. Uh, he has like pretty obvious weaknesses. He's easily kiteable. Um, he can't really disengage all too well. He needs to farm a lot. Overall, there are better champions to play than Briar. Galio, ult cooldown reduced by 20 seconds, so his cooldown was very high to begin with. It is nice because once you have this, you're looking to like use it off cooldown a lot. But the problem with Galio is that he's very niche. He needs a good matchup and he needs a good enemy comp to play into, and he also needs uh, a good allied comp to play with. So uh, if you have him in his champ pool, he's pickable, but he's so niche. There are like better champions to have in your champ pool. Gangplank. Gangplank's getting buffed. This champion was already very good. If you just put in the time to learn him. His ultimate cooldown is getting 10 seconds shaved off, and his ultimate slow is getting increased. And the allied movement speed buff doesn't really matter because you get this upgrade last. So yeah, he's buffed. I mean, if you want to play Gangplank, but uh, put in the games to learn him. Jin, our physical damage increased. So this is the minimum damage. So when the enemy is high health, I guess. He's getting like 14 damage, which doesn't do a whole lot. Uh, his rank 2 is 25 damage, which is nice. Because it's like 25 to 100 damage total, I guess. And you're almost never level 16 on this champion. This champion is difficult to play. Most ADC mains cannot play this champion well. And overall, I think he's like too balanced. There are better ADCs to play. He's just very difficult. And yeah, uh, play something else, honestly. LeBlanc. So they're gutting AD LeBlanc, which is alright because it was kind of broken. So they're saying these changes, the attack speed changes, do not matter if you don't build attack speed. Uh, and they're nerfing Harmonica, so she's reliant on having Lost Chapter, which is fine. She's still a good big mid, but like with some of the other champions I mentioned, she's difficult to play. Uh, and like I think in solo queue there are better champions to play. Like the problem with LeBlanc is you need to be very good with CSing, and CSing is very slow. And there are champions that can like shove and roam better than LeBlanc, that are also easier to play. She's getting some AP ratios, which is nice, I guess. But yeah, there are better, more easier champions to play than LeBlanc. Lee Sin. So Lee Sin's getting 2 base armor. His lifesteal and spell vamps going up by 5% at level 1, which is pretty huge. And he's losing some damage off the E late game. But yeah, that doesn't really matter all too much. I think Lee Sin is in a good spot. They also buffed his Q damage a while back, and now he's like more forgiving in the jungle. He has like a healthier clear now, uh, a lot healthier with the armor and the lifesteal buff. And he can go Umbral Glaive. The Bruiser items are also pretty strong right now. If there was ever a time to pick up Lee Sin, now would be it. In my opinion, if you want to play Lee Sin, you can definitely like start picking him up now. Now is a good time. Um, Overall, I think they're like obviously easier champions to play and climb with, but if you want to play Lee Sin, you should definitely consider picking him up, although he will definitely not make the tier list. Lissandra W root duration increased. She's getting 0.15 seconds on the root duration flat. This doesn't do anything. Lissandra is a decent champion to pick, but again, there are probably better champions that are considered S tier. Nunu AP ratio increased. Yeah, I've been seeing this build a couple of times. It's not very good. It's just fun. He's getting like 50 damage or whatever if he lands all his E's, but all in all, there are better champions to play than AP Nunu. Nunu is a coin flip champion. Basically, if you don't get like good early ganks off, he's kind of useless. Oh, he's not entirely useless. If your team is winning, he has like very good objective control and stuff. But yeah, there are way more reliable champions than Nunu. Pyke. So Pyke's getting some health, but it's very negligible. It's like 6 health level 2, and then he gets like a ruby crystal as the game goes on. Well, at the end of the game, it's like level 11, he gets a ruby crystal, whatever. His W cooldown is going down, but only when you put points into it. So like, there are. I mean, Pyke's a decent carry champion to play as support, but there are more reliable champions to play. Usually, range champions are better in solo queue as a support because if your team fucks up, you don't necessarily die, and that's not really true for squishy melee champions. And it's also a very negligible buff, so yeah, there are better champs to play than Pyke. Rek'Sai is getting nerfed. This champ was pretty good, but not S tier in my opinion, although pretty close. Like his late game is terrible, and the nerfs are pretty significant. He gets some damage back later in the game on the Unburrow, but level 1 he loses damage on his Q, and his movement speed is going down significantly when in burrowed mode. So yeah, his heal's also going down off the passive, so he's still Rek'Sai, but I think there are better champions to play for sure. Renekton, base magic resistance reduced by 4. This is a pretty big nerf. In some matchups it won't matter at all, but there are very few champions that are purely physical damage. Most champions are a mix. So he will be feeling this in most matchups, especially in mid lane. He might drop off the tier list for mid lane, but if you like, he's a very reliable pick. He does the same thing in whatever matchup. His items are decent. He's very safe. He can snowball. Um, yeah, you should probably keep playing Renekton, but he definitely loses value as a blind pick. Because I can imagine like it being rough to play into a good cannon or rumble, and yeah, you're probably better off not blinding him mid lane. Syndra Q damage increased. She's getting 5 damage on her Q, which is her spammable ability. So you should probably not blind pick Syndra. She's very difficult to play. But if you have a good matchup for her, this adds up to a lot because you're gonna be hitting a lot of Qs. So it could mean like you're getting 100 damage over the entire lane phase. So I do think there are like easier champions to play than Syndra for sure. So she'll probably not make the tier list as an S tier champion. Twitch R missile speed increased. Okay, this is whatever. It makes it slightly harder to dodge, I guess, if you have high movement speed. Twitch is Twitch in solo queue. I don't recommend him. Um, he doesn't have like mobility. His early lane isn't that great. There are definitely better picks in solo queue. If you have a duo, he might be pretty good still. Or well, he always was. Zeri base movement speed increased by 5. This definitely hurts her just because of her playstyle. Um, but I don't think she's been that great for a while now. So there are better champions to play than Zeri for sure. and she doesn't have the same snowballing potential that other ADCs do. In my opinion, she needs a couple of levels to get going. Around the win, the cost going down by 300 gold. I think this is the same gold amount that Frozen Heart costs. So now, if you're playing into multiple crit champions, you will definitely be buying this more often. Um, I noticed, like in the previous patches, if you were intending to buy this, but you had the gold to complete Frozen Heart, you would end up picking that up anyway. So this is a welcome buff. It's a buff to tanks. Um, yeah, the item is pretty decent now, I would say, because the active is useful and it's good against multiple crit champions like Ionia as well, or some other ADC in the side lane or in the jungle. Seeker's Arm Guard. This is a nerf to AD assassins, especially mid laners, and it's a buff to mages. So if you're playing into Zed or Talon, you can consider picking this up earlier as like a defensive buy. So yeah, that's that. It's also a buff to Zhonya's, obviously. Static shift, 50 damage reduction on the minions. This item isn't all too great. You should only buy this if you have a specific like wave clearing purpose in mind. But I think for most champions have better items than static shift. And yeah, that was the patch. Behavioral systems. Okay, so now you cannot switch accounts. You need to play some other modes outside of ranked to remove your penalty. So I mean, just don't type in your games. Do not leave, and you will not get penalized because that's the way the system works. Ping adjustments. So now, if you ping some information from your allies, you will only see the information yourself, but your allies won't know. It's pretty rare that your allies will actually understand why you're pinging something. And often, like you'll be pinging your allies' cooldowns on their items or their ultimates most of the time. Um, yeah, there are definitely some moments where pinging your allied ultimate will like alert them that you want them to R, for example, Shen or Galio or Malzar. Uh, so it's a bit annoying that you can't alert them, but it shouldn't be like a huge change. And your own info will still be displayed to your team. And now you can some abilities that have like sound effects only. You can now toggle an option to have a visual alert for Cyan Alt. I will definitely be testing this out because sometimes the sound cue is bugged and you won't hear Cyan Alting, or if you're busy like listening to music or whatever. So definitely try this out, could be useful. And they're introducing the bugs. They're introducing an updated bot. That's whatever. Oh yeah, that was it. Let's recap. Azir, small nerf, still good, maybe not S tier. Briar, don't play Briar, don't play Rek'Sai. LeBlanc as like a AP mid assassin, she's still good but difficult to play. Renekton nerfed against mages. Um, yeah, there are better champs to play than Zarya for sure. Galio super niche, Gangplank broken, as always got buffed. Lee Sin got a pretty big buff. You can like he's very more forgiving now. You should definitely consider picking him up. Jins, whatever, it's a nice buff, but the champion isn't that great. Lissandra is okay, still okay, small buff, negligible actually. Don't play Nunu. Uh, there are better champs to play than Pyke for sure. Same for Syndra, same for Twitch, unless you're with the duo, I guess. So yeah, for the items, Ronduin's better now, Zoe is better now, Shiv is nerfed. These item changes matter. They're impactful. So yeah, not much going on. Thanks for watching. See you till next patch. Bye.